Okay, think about this for a second. That last question you typed into a search bar, it felt like your own, right? Well, today, we're going to dig into a really startling idea. What if the questions we ask are no longer truly ours? What if our very own curiosity is being quietly automated? Right, so what is the most dangerous deception of all? Your mind probably jumps to things like fake news or deep fakes, basically the manipulation of answers. But the real deception, it's way more subtle and honestly a lot more profound.
I mean, for decades now, we've poured trillions of dollars and who knows how many engineering hours into one single goal, the automation of answers. We've built these incredible machines designed to instantly fix the problem of not knowing something.
But it turns out we've been looking in completely the wrong direction. See, the real danger, the much deeper deception, isn't about the answers we get. It's about the automation of the questions we haven't even finished thinking up yet. It is the automation of curiosity itself. Okay, so to really get what's at stake here, we actually have to go way back in time to an ancient ideal of learning, a model that saw the question, not the answer, as the most powerful tool the mind has. So let's talk about Socrates, the original guide on the side. His whole thing was that you can't just download knowledge. It can't be poured into your head like you're filling a cup. No, he saw himself as an intellectual midwife, someone who helps people give birth to their own understanding. And the whole point of his method, of all this questioning, was to get people to this state he called Aporia. It's that kind of uncomfortable, humbling, but also incredibly powerful moment where you realize you don't actually know what you thought you knew. For Socrates, this productive confusion wasn't a failure. That's the starting gun for any real inquiry. And this is the key right here. That discomfort, that mental struggle, that cognitive friction, it's not a bug that needs to be fixed. It is the engine. It's the very thing that makes us learn. Without that struggle of not knowing, the mind has no reason to go anywhere new. Now, fast forward a couple thousand years, and you have the philosopher John Dewey fighting the exact same battle in education. He laid out these two models, the sage on the stage, who just dumps facts on you, versus the guide on the side, who helps you discover things for yourself. So, which one of these sounds a little more like the technology we use every single day? Just take a look at this. On the right, that's inquiry-based learning. It's driven by what Dewey called a student's felt difficulty. That feeling of, I need to figure this out. The struggle is the engine. But over on the left, we have what you could call predictive pedagogy. It's run by an algorithm, and in this world, that exact same struggle is seen as an inefficiency, a problem to get rid of. The goal completely shifts from developing lifelong curiosity to just getting the right answer as fast as possible. So where does this ancient idea crash into our modern world? Well, it happens millions of times a second, right in that tiny space between your brain and that little blinking cursor on the screen. We all think of Autocomplete as this helpful little assistant, just finishing our sentences. But really, it's more like a subtle co-pilot. It's not just guessing your question, it's actively steering it, gently nudging you away from your unique idea and onto the superhighway of average, popular, and predictable questions. I mean, just think about how this plays out. You start typing something unique, a little spark of genuine, maybe even weird, curiosity. But before you can even finish the thought, the AI pops up with a more popular, more average version. You click it, and poof, in that one easy click, the question isn't really yours anymore. Okay, and this isn't just some abstract idea. Back in 2020, a group of researchers at Harvard actually decided to test this whole steering effect. They wanted to know, is predictive text just a neutral tool, or is it actually changing how we think and write? And what they found was pretty clear. Predictive text doesn't just make you write faster, it makes you write more predictably. The more a person used it, the more their own writing started to sound like the statistical average of the machine. We think we're training the AI, but really, the AI is training us. And this brings us to the last, and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, the massive, invisible cost of all this convenience. But here's the part from that Harvard study that's honestly a little chilling. So what the researchers did was they secretly tweaked the predictive text to have a slight positive bias. And the result? People actually started writing more positive things, and they had absolutely no idea their emotions were being guided. And that right there, that's the invisible bar of the gilded cage. See, losing your freedom doesn't feel like a prison when the prison is this comfortable. It feels like you're being empowered. It feels convenient. The bars are gilded with easy answers, so we never even think to question the cage itself. And that's the genius of the trap, isn't it? The AI suggestions start to feel like our own original thoughts. We'll be walking down these very predictable paths, but we'll feel like we're blazing a new trail. We'll literally lose the ability to ask our own questions, but we won't even feel the muscle getting weaker. We won't mourn the loss of real curiosity. We'll just look at it and call it progress.
So the next time you go to type something into that search bar and those predictions start popping up, just pause for a second and ask yourself this one simple question. If the query isn't entirely yours, how can the thought that follows be?